I'm Kelsey from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a very simple balm or salve out of your own herbs. First of all, what is a balm? What is a salve? They have been used for thousands of years by people to treat common skin conditions or aches and pains. And you can make them with herbs from your own garden or herbs that you buy. There can be some confusion as to what the difference is between a balm, a salve, and ointment. They're all pretty similar, all made to do roughly the same purpose. If you think of a salve or an ointment, those are going to be kind of a little more goopy. Think of like a petroleum jelly sort of consistency. Versus a balm is going to be a little bit firmer consistency, so more like a lip balm where it's firm, but if it were to get too warm or you're to like squish it in your fingers, then it would definitely soften. Another thing that people talk about are butters. Butters can also have really great beneficial properties. They tend to be made with a cocoa butter or a shea butter or something that's going to make them more moisturizing. And sometimes they might even be whipped, which basically you just take all those ingredients and you whip them up with a hand mixer or something to get that fluffy kind of cloud-like consistency. So before we get started, just a couple of really quick things. One is to make sure you are using dried herbs. You can't use fresh herbs for this. Normally fresh herbs are great for everything, or if you're making a poultice or something. But when it comes to making an herbal balm, you're going to be first making an herbal infused oil. And so if you use fresh herbs in your oil, you're going to have spoilage of your oil because of all the moisture in the herbs. Oil and water don't mix, right? They don't go well together. So you want to make sure you're using perfectly dried herbs for this. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a recipe that comes from a really great book called Beeswax Alchemy for what I call the itch fix. And so this is going to be an herbal mix that you can use for helping treat bug bites or irritations from plants like nettles and things like that. But if you don't want to go that deep into making an herbal preparation for your first balm, you can very easily just do what I'm doing with these herbs you'll see in a little bit and just use calendula. Calendula is a really great all-purpose kind of balm that you can make. And all you need to do is just put calendula in your jar instead of these other herbs, and then just kind of proceed as we do through the rest of the process. You're going to need your herb of choice, and then you'll need some beeswax, olive oil, metal or glass tins, a glass mason jar with a lid, a scale, a bowl, and some vitamin E oil. For this recipe, we are going to be putting in 2 parts of chickweed, and then we're going to be putting in 2 parts of chamomile, 2 parts of calendula blossoms, 1 part of comfrey root, and marshmallow powder, which I added there to the middle. You also are going to need 1 part of thyme. I just grabbed an old dried bunch from the garden. I'm going to put that here in the mason jar. I'm going to mix up the other herbs here. I highly recommend if you're using marshmallow powder instead of the actual root to not have a fan running. You can see here that I have a little bit of dusty marshmallow root happening here. After everything's really well combined, you're going to add it to the mason jar. You can do it by hand or with a spoon. And here you'll see as I get down to kind of the dregs of the herbs, I just dump the rest in from the bowl. And there we have our jar full of herbs. If you give it a little shake like I do here in a minute, you can see that it's just about 3/4 of the way full. And from there, you're going to take your oil. Olive oil is pretty standard. It's a really good neutral oil that carries the herbal properties well. You can use other oils, but olive oil is kind of the go-to. And you'll just dump it so it covers all the herbs really well. And then after that, I grab my handy dandy Sunday spoon and use it to stir up the herbs really well, just to make sure that everything is completely coated and soaking in there. You can really get a good idea. If you feel in there it's too hard to stir, you might have kind of a lump that hasn't gotten the oil on it. And so I add just a little bit more oil here to top it off. So now I'm going to go ahead and stick this in a warm, sunny location for about 2 weeks. You can also do it on the stove top, however, as another option. So once you do have your oil all ready to go, you're going to add 40 grams of beeswax to a double boiler. You can make a double boiler just with a pot and a smaller pot on top with water in the bottom pot. Then you're going to add 158 grams of your herb infused oil to the beeswax and then melt it down in your double boiler. Once it's melted down, you're gonna add 2 grams of vitamin E oil. It just helps to nourish the skin. It also acts as a preservative. If you do wanna add essential oils at this point, you would add just 1 gram. Lavender is a pretty common one that people like to use. After that, you go ahead and pour your herbal infused oil and beeswax into your tin or glass containers of choice. And then you're gonna let them cool completely before you cap, label, and date. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and feel confident to go ahead and make your own herbal preparations. They really are so easy and it's so satisfying. You just feel like some sort of wise old witchy woman with your herbs and your pots and your beeswax. So let me know how this works out for you. If you have any favorite herbal recipes below in the comments. Always check back here every single week for a new video about farming, family food, and fortitude here at our Rough and Tumble farmhouse.